Alright, people, welcome to Movie Reviews. This week we get to week 2 of the Hellraiser series. We're doing Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. My name, as always, is David. I am from 7poundbag.com. Please make sure you hit the website, subscribe, do all the good fun stuff. Follow me on all the things as we speak every week. So, growing up, I thought this was the best movie of the series. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember really liking it. And I haven't seen it in quite a while, to be quite honest with you, so I don't know if it's going to hold up. I have better memories of the first one. Now, tell you the truth, looking back at when I watched it for the review, it seems like I liked it better now than I did back then. So we'll have to look and see if part 2 actually holds that lofty title of my favorite horror movie, which it held for so long. Whenever somebody would say, "What's your favorite horror movie?" Well, the first thing off my mind is Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. So, but again, I haven't seen it in 4 or 5 years, so let's see if it actually holds up. So we kick off the movie, and we get highlights of the first one. Whole lot of Julia, a whole lot of Garrick, a whole lot of Pinhead coming out, even though, again, he's not in the first one that much. So then to get into the movie prior, we get Doug Bradley playing with the box. It's a little different. It opens up a different way than it did last time, but we still get the chains and hook off popping out. And then actually this time we actually get to see the nails getting put in Pinhead's skull. The little tentacles, I guess, coming out and putting the nails and everything in here, and we get to see him scream. Flip over, and Kirsty is in a psych ward. Cops questioning her, trying to find out what's going on, because they found the bodies in the house. I guess the house didn't completely fall apart. She freaks out a bit when she finds out that they found a bloody mattress. She said that Julia can come back because she died on that mattress, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because no, she didn't. I just watched the first movie. It didn't happen. But anyway, that's our setup for this movie here. Flip over to some brain surgeon talking about the mysteries of the brain, and he's all of a sudden drilling a hole in the back of somebody's skull. Uh, and he is going to be one of the ones that's going to be treating Kirsty. So they want to talk about what she saw. Apparently, he is a bit interested in the occult. And there's a young backup doctor, and he wants to give her something to sleep. She goes to sleep, and then she wakes up, starts wandering around the hospital, and sees some blonde kid working on puzzle boxes. And apparently, this girl just won't talk. So whenever she goes back to bed, she's woken up by the words "Help me, I am in hell" written on the bed, written on the wall in blood. So she's thinking it's from her father. So then Kirsty gives us her information dump to the shrink, including how the puzzle box works and how it opens up a gateway to hell. Dr. Chouinard is really interested in this. He's really fascinated with this. I'm more fascinated by the part that Kirsty actually knows all this, considering how little she was in the first chunk of the movie, how little she would have actually seen from the first movie. I guess she saw it in theaters, maybe. Uh, and then the young doctor comes into Dr. Chouinard's office, and he discovers that Chouinard actually has the bed that has chains and everything on it, which again, it's not the first movie. But anyway, and he just keeps saying weird, weird. Everything he looks at, weird, which is annoying as shit. I mean, then he starts saying Jesus Christ over and over again, which again is highly annoying. And looking around the office, Dr. Chouinard actually has 3 puzzle boxes, which is pretty cool. Young doctor's pretty clueless about everything, but he does actually come across a picture of Doug Bradley, which is kind of fun. Dr. Chouinard comes back with one of the patients. He keeps thinking that there's maggots and stuff growing on him. Chouinard actually puts him on the bed, hands him a razor, so he instantly starts to cut himself. And then all of a sudden, Julia pops out of the bed. You know, she gets these arms, comes up. She starts crawling after the guy. She's got a real gleam in her eyes. She's grinning around. Finally kills the guy. She asks for help. Chouinard kind of shoves the bed over to her. And she lays back on the bed for like a half second. Then I guess she's instant healed. I guess it's kind of like the pool in Zelda for whatever reason. And then she's popped up. She's ready to go again. And he's all into this for some other reason. He wraps her in gauze. She's wearing a dress. And yeah, and then she starts popping out the line again. You know, now we need his skin. Same thing that Frank said to her. And this is all like 42 minutes of the movie. We are over halfway into this movie, and Julia has just finally shown up. We haven't seen Pinhead barely at all. This is all world building. It's all really good world building, but there's not a whole lot going on with this. It is all about the return of Julia, which, again, keep in mind, for the first two movies, Julia is supposed to be the big baddie. She is supposed to be the big evil one. They find out that Pinhead is so popular that they change focus. They get off of Julia, they get on to Pinhead for the future movies. Slight spoiler alert for those of you that don't know how horror franchises work. But how was Hellraiser 2? And again, I'm kind of cutting it off here just because, to tell you the truth, like I said, I'm 45 minutes into the daggone movie and we haven't even got the Cenobites yet. We've got like 15 seconds of Pinhead. But the movie is really good as far as world building. It's really substantial as far as trying to build Julia. We come to find out that Julia is serving a god called Leviathan. And Leviathan, we never really get the relationship between Leviathan and Pinhead, to be quite honest with you. And again, I'm not going to do spoilers right yet, but this movie really lives and dies off Claire Higgins, because once she comes back, she takes over the movie. And to say that we got a nice little handoff from Kirsty to Claire Higgins is like saying we got the pass off from Jay Crowder to LeBron James. It is just, we could put up with it for short times to we've got a rock star, because I love Claire Higgins. She looks much younger in this movie. She doesn't have that matronly thing going. Even though the actress is older, she looks younger. She looks more vital. She is chewing every bit of scenery she can find, and she just owns this movie. And again, I love her. She's awesome. And I'm a little sad to see what ends up going on with the movie as it goes along. But again, she rocks the movie. Chenard rocks the movie. For those of you that don't know of Chenard, he's in Hot Fuzz. He's in Valkyrie. If you saw that Tom Cruise movie, he's in a few things that you may have seen, but it is an excellent job by him. He is also on par with Claire as far as playing this brain surgeon who's really obsessed with the occult. Again, this probably could have been better served as maybe a two-parter movie. Maybe we get the return of Julia, and then all of a sudden, part 3, we get what'll come up after I hit the spoiler tags. Do I like it as much as I did before? No. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not as good as it was growing up. I do love the build. I do love Julia. I do love Chenard. Young Doctor kind of gets on my nerves. Kirsty's still not much better of an actress than she was the first one. But the ending feels rushed. The ending is horrible, to be quite honest with you. Again, you don't get much of an explanation as far as what Leviathan is, what he's about. And again, you just don't. It's all world building with no payoff. And it really is. It is a ton of world building. It is very good for the plot. I do kind of wish, like I said, had they split it up and done the whole Chenard section later, that would have been wonderful. I do like the fact of putting mental patients that are really good at solving boxes into actually doing the puzzle boxes. When Pinhead does finally come out, he knows that Tiffany, who's the blonde girl, solved the box, but she wasn't the one that called him. So he goes after Chenard, which is fun. The movie is still a lot of fun. I'm probably going to go maybe an 8. If you're not, I'm really wavering between a 7 and 8. But the first one is so good, and this one builds on it so well. It's kind of like Hollywood. It's kind of like Halloween 1 and 2. It's a lesser sequel. Looking back at it, watching it again, but the first one just throws so much goodwill that you almost have to watch the second one to get the rest of it. And I think had the third one been better, maybe the second one be looked at better, maybe. It just kind of, you get about a good hour of a really great, solid, hit 10 movie, and then it just hits a steep decline that's just not fun. So I'm going to go 7. Heck with it. I do think it's worth watching. I do think it's worth pulling out. I do think if you like the Pinhead mythos, it's really good as far as what he came from. it's a major what could have been, though. Oh my gosh. And I'll come back into the spoilers. But let me get into spoilers so I don't burn anybody. Spoiler alert for everybody that's coming up with it. Again, I'm giving it a 7. By all means, watch it. By all means, enjoy it. Come back. Please listen to the spoilers that I'm going to get with it. And by all means, give me your feedback on it. Please throw a spoiler tag out there for it. It's not my favorite film of the franchise anymore. The first one just seems much, much better in retrospect. Maybe it's because I'm 45. What do I know? But, by all means, come back. Watch us at 7poundbag.com. We got the wrestling roundtables, NFL, Major League Baseball. Now that it's starting to heat up, we got all those roundtables coming up. Have more wrestling content. I reviewed Deadpool 2 on Tuesday, so make sure you go read that. I'm going to try to do a written one on Tuesday and a video one here with us on Saturday. So thank you for watching. It's hit the website, and this is your warning. Get out now before I take you to hell. No video clip this week because I had so much fun with YouTube's copyright censors for a movie that's 30 plus years old. So, spoilers upcoming. That's for this for you. Bye-bye. All right. My biggest problem is this is Pinhead's franchise. This is Pinhead's film, and he goes down so easily it's not even funny. It seems like his only power is throwing chains out, and that's a problem. If he's supposed to be this big torturer, this big evil dude, and the best he's got is hooks and chains that you can beat with a blade, I've got a bit of an issue with it there. The Julia is so much fun, and she goes down so quickly. That's my problem with the whole movie. Everybody goes down easily. We spend the whole movie building Julia, and she goes down because her skin gets pulled off because apparently they didn't put enough staples on her back whenever they put her back skin on her. Even though, if you'll notice, whenever they put the body together, that wasn't a one piece in the back. There was a hole there. So you actually had the whole skin split instead of like it splitting along, I guess you could say, the seams. And she dies so quickly, which is annoying. Even though how Kirsty was able to talk like her whenever she says, "Trust me," I have no idea. But I really hated for Julia to go out so easily. The Cenobites go out so easily. It's basically you flick them, you stab them once and they go down. That makes them complete, I hate to say bitches, but they go down like bitches. Pinhead gets shot a few times and he dies. Looking at Kirsty like, "Oh, you saved me." But Kirsty still got to get out of it. She grabs the boxes. She runs out. Okay, and she's safe. Nothing going on there. My biggest problem is how Channard goes out. I absolutely love one of my favorite parts of the whole movie is when Julia's putting him in the box. You wanted to know. I wanted it all. Now everybody's happy, and he gets all these needles and all this other stuff. The piano wire goes across his face, and he's just screaming. The thing goes down, and then he comes up, and he walks out, and he looks up and he goes, "And to think I hesitated." That to me just made him just look awesome. He's like, "Oh my gosh, we have got a new monster to deal with." And then that little rotary thing comes over, which is a callback to him being a brain surgeon, which that just kind of annoyed me. When I first watched it as a much younger child, I thought that was really interesting. Now it looks kind of okay. Now he's just kind of being moved around like a piece, and it's not that good an effect, and it's not that interesting. Him walking around as he was would have been much more impressive. And then the way he dies, he shoots those two little things out. He's been shooting them all day, just killing people, but now shooting them at Kirsty, he's got to shoot ones that are attached, and he aims badly. He misses her from like 10 feet away, hitting her at the feet, and for some reason he can't release him. So instead of pulling other stuff, it actually pulls his head apart. So he goes out way too easily. It's like he goes out, Kirsty slaps Julia around, Channard slaps the pinheads around, and then Kirsty's able to just basically walk away from everybody, and Channard basically kills himself. We couldn't find another way for him to pull those things up. He couldn't like slash his own little things off. The little flower and the finger coming out, that's just wasn't really good effects. Again, I would have sorry about that. I would have much better preferred. We end the first movie basically with Julia coming up and Chenard coming, putting Chenard in the box, and then the movie ends. Stay tuned for part three, and then get like a mid credit scene. Welcome to 2010s, where you got to have a mid credit scene, and the box comes back up, and Chenard steps out and goes, "And to think I hesitated." And to me, that would have been just the perfect ending, and we set up part three, which is where Chenard versus Pinhead. But of course, we didn't get that, and what do you expect? But again, hopes and dreams and all that good stuff. If I was going to reboot the franchise, that's where I would start it, or that's what I would do. I would leave one as is, just with better acting, better CGI, better graphics. Do part two that way, and part three I'm completely redoing. Uh, See what they do with part three next week. Come back next Saturday, and we will. Like I said, the ending just kind of kills me. The last half hour just pretty much ruins it for me. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'd like to see what you think. What a good Chenard versus Pinhead battle would have been like. And again, make sure you hit the website, senpaimag.com. I will see y'all next week for part three, and enjoy. Thank you very much for watching.